Well, I said I'd be out again, and I am. But today, I've just come local-ish. No prizes for guessing where. Now you may be thinking, didn't you just ride that a couple of weeks ago around there? Yes, I did. But the trails around here are so bloody good that the worst riding regularly, and it is pretty close to me. Plus, with it being the last weekend of summer holidays and decent weather, the roads are a bloody mess. So whilst I would have loved to have gone to the lakes today, it just isn't practical really. I don't want to spend hours on end sat on the M6 roasting in my car. Same with going off into North Wales. Day 55 will be grim today. Anyway, it's not exactly the same ride as I did the other week, because there's no damn way I'm going to ride out from Chester to here on a regular basis, because I'm not mental. Well, bloody hell. Maybe I am actually, because my fingers are now torn to pieces off gorse. So one thing with this trail, obviously in summer when it's dry, it rides a lot better because it's grippy, but you can't see the bloody trail for all the ferns and gorse and all that fun stuff. So maybe it's a spring stroke autumn trail. Still lovely, but ow. My fault really, innit? For not wearing gloves. And just for a change, I've brought out the much ignored Alpine. But before I could get it out, I had to do some maintenance. And the main thing it needs is shock bushing changing. Wah, wah, wah. Shouldn't have played like that. You're not helping much, Nemo. Wah, wah, wah. Can you see the kitten through the hole? So as I mentioned in the parting shots of the last video, in 3 weeks' time, I'm off to Spain with Christian, Tony and Andy Trailfinder. And I'd be lying if I said that all this doing bigger rides wasn't preparation for that. Trying to get fit is not solely for going to Spain. I've been trying to get fit for ages, and I would like to be a fair bit fitter and healthier than I currently am. But let's just say it's a motivator. And the thing is, where we're going in Spain, Boubion with switchbacks, is up in the Sierra Nevadas, but it's not by any stretch of the imagination a cross-country type holiday. Maybe you'd call it a bit more all mountain, but it's 70% uplifted, and from that you think, well, you don't really need to be that fit, do you? But it's 6 days in a trot, which worries me, because that's a lot of days to be riding back to back. I mean, this week, ridden into work a few times, and 2 days ago, did that ride with Jonathan, which wasn't a long ride. Did about 1900 foot of climbing, I suppose, and I'd hope to not be feeling it, but I am. So no, I'm not where I want to be. Where I want to be is feeling pretty fresh at the start of a ride after 2 or 3 days of riding, and that's a lot to ask, I guess, unless you do ride a hell of a lot, and I don't really get to. I mean, between now and when we go on holiday, how many more rides will I get in? I'm going to try to, but I can't promise. I guess the thing is, no matter how fit you are, you always want to be fitter, don't you? But when it comes to an obsession, nah, that's not for me. I enjoy beer and fags too much for that. Another thing at the moment is that I am just enjoying these longer type of cross-country get out there rides. I spent absolutely ages just messing around in the woods, you know, pedal up the fire road, blast down the track, pedal up, and I do love that kind of ride. I mean, Thursday's ride was a bit like that, but I go through phases, and I think at the moment it's getting out and doing bigger rides phase. Something else I'm terrible at is refueling. I always sort of forget to eat anything when I'm out. Sometimes forget to drink water as well. That's not good, is it? Anyway, today I'm having the food of champions. Wine gums. Don't like wine, but I like these. So it actually feels like a long time since I last rode the Orange. I haven't ridden it much this year. I took it up the lakes the other week, obviously, because that's the kind of place where a bike like this really comes into its own. But other than that, Dovey and a couple of other times, it's sat in the shed. I think one of the main reasons for that is I'm just loving riding the P7, and a lot of the rides I've been doing are probably more suited to the P7. God, it's windy. It's actually slowing me down. See, I think where a bike like this comes into its own is for rough terrain and going fast. Not that I'm going fast right now, we're a rut and I don't like ruts. But, I mean, there's no arguing that a full susser is quicker and sort of better for trails like this where they're a bit loose and rubbly and just carry speed more. But I would argue that 7 inches of travel is a bit much for a ride like this. I would argue as well that the P7 is probably better suited to a ride like this. There's nothing crazy. I mean, I'm not bothered about going really fast because what's the point? I mean, I think conversely, one of the things with a hardtail is, yes, you feel like you're going fast, but you're not really. It sort of makes you realise that you don't have to. I mean, at the end of the day, I've got nothing to prove to anybody. Nobody watches me for super speed, do they? For me, it comes down to having the right tool for the job. Or at least the better suited tool for the job, because you could argue that for the majority of rides, my bikes aren't best suited. But I don't want to change them, not yet. Woohoo! God damn, get out of the way, Moo Mau! I guess you could say that this, for me, is the best tool for the job, and about 20-25% of the rides I do, probably the better suited for 50-60. And when I say better suited, I mean probably better suited for the ride than the hardtail is. Woohoo! I love that little section. I love all the trail, to be honest. You could argue that a hardtail is never really the best tool for the job. Especially the dirt jumping, I guess. I mean, if you're looking for an all-rounder, then you'd probably go for a trail bike, wouldn't you? About 150 millimetres. How dare you interrupt me, Mr. Crash? And there are times I've thought about getting rid of this and getting a 150mm travel bike. But there is always that niggling thought of, is too much travel better than not enough for certain circumstances? And things like the lakes, you know, I'd rather have too much. I mean, ideally, you'd have a trail bike, bike like this, and a hardtail. But, you know, that's not realistic for most of us, is it? The thing with a hardtail is, they're just never the right tool for the job, but for 50% of the rides, I'd say they're more suitable tool for the job than this. And I would say, for this loop, the hardtail is the better suited bike. A lot of the trails are pretty smooth. Yeah, there's the occasional rough section, but nothing that really phases the hardtail too much. Yeah, it's slower through it, but again, doesn't really matter. Also, there's a lot of big climbs on this, and the hardtail definitely climbs better than that. They don't climb badly, but it doesn't compare to the hardtail. At least the weather's getting me ready for Spain. That's good prep, isn't it? So it's going to be warm out there. Not as hot as you might think, because you're right up in the mountains. But it's going to be bloody warm anyway. So the reason for bringing this out today really was just to make sure everything was working as it should. So it'll be ready, because this is definitely the bike I'll be taking to Spain. Christian actually asked me whether he should take his hardtail, and I said, well, you could. You would get down most of the trails on a hardtail, okay? There's a couple you'd really struggle. Well, the thing is, more than anything else, well, A, it's about maximum enjoyment, which you can have on one of these out there, and B, on a hardtail, you'd be so fatigued by the end of each day, then you're not going to make a full bloody week of riding. Now does your hardtail, to be honest. It'd just be a wreck by the end. And there we go. Another long-winded waffle, just to say I'm going to Spain. I'm taking my Alpine. But I had a cracking ride. Love it round here. Really do. Did I love it on the Alpine? Yeah, I did. Definitely harder work. Especially on the ups. I mean, definitely on the ups. But still love that bike. It's bloody brilliant. Anyway, next time, who knows? I might go out tomorrow for a quick spin. Won't be filming though if I do. The legs might not work either. Bye bye. Hey, come on then, let's play. You ready? Come on. Hey, I'll get you. You little bugger. Go on. Oh, Nemo.